former colleague and now current Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, went through and got rid of 37 security clearances over, these were all involved with the Russiagate scenario and everything that went down. Will, give it to us.
So these individuals are people that had some sort of connection to politicizing or weaponizing intelligence. And what we see is that we know early on in the Trump presidency, even before Tulsi Gabbard was Director of National Intelligence, they got rid of the top names that you know of, the Clappers, the Brennans, the John Boltons. They had their security clearance revoked. But this is as a result of their investigation and finding out how deep this widespread conspiracy to politicize weaponization went. And now that they're putting out that information, they're also taking action by suspending the security clearances of 37 individuals. And they are people that politicized or weaponized intelligence to advance personal, partisan, or non-objective agendas inconsistent with national security priorities, failure to safeguard classified information in accordance with applicable laws, regulations, and agency policies, i.e. leaking, failure to adhere to professional analytic tradecraft standards, also known as weaponizing, manipulating, changing the intelligence to fit a different narrative than it shows, and other conduct detrimental to the trust and confidence required for continued access to national security information. Jordan, I know that you dealt with this type of stuff a lot, working with the Bob Mueller probe, looking at things of this nature, and we've seen this pattern. This isn't going after the names you know necessarily. This is going after the true deep state at this point.
Yeah, remember, a lot of you know more about these bureaucracies in the FBI than you ever have before, knowing who the director is, the deputy's assistant, that you can go on down. Same thing goes for the Department of Justice, because there have been some high-profile individuals taking on those roles. But for the most part, the most dangerous part of these governments are not always the political appointees. Yes, you have the Clapper on this list and others. It's the bureaucrats inside these organizations, whether it be any of the intelligence organizations, who are the long-termers, the survivors, who, again, believe that they could leak classified information without any negative recourse. Yet, remember, they raided President Trump's home, a man who could declassify anything at any time for any reason, and they raided his home. It took his own administration to make sure that lower-level intelligence officers were following the basics of keeping a security clearance. We're not even talking about criminal law yet. We're talking about keeping a security clearance.
Right. This is like, I think when every time someone says, oh, it's a bunch of nothing, there's going to be a list of names, there's going to be stuff happens, nothing's ever going to get done. This is active. This is happening. This is getting done. People are being removed from their security clearances. That is a bigger deal than maybe you know of.
Yes, because you can't use it for your business anymore. A lot of times these military contractors, you need to be, your security clearance gets you a better job.
And whenever you see this line in an article by the legacy media, just go ahead and click away because it's unnecessary. But they're already going after Tulsi, saying that she accused them of having engaged in the politicization or weaponization of intelligence to advance personal or partisan goals, failing to safeguard classified information, failing to adhere to professional analytic tradecraft standards, and other detrimental conduct she did not describe in the memo. Then they say, the memo offered no evidence to support the accusations. First of all, she's been laying out the evidence for weeks now. Second of all, this legacy media is the same legacy media that told us if there were layoffs at the CIA and intelligence world at the DNI because of Doge, that's a national security risk because those people that have security clearance might go to our enemies with the information. You gotta be
careful you're firing because those people are going to go straight to Russia.
So maybe if the legacy media told us that there are people that are bad actors within the intelligence community that are so easily able to betray their country, commit treason, that maybe you don't need a ton of evidence for a memo saying we're revoking your security clearance. And actually, that's the prerogative of the president, who is the one who classifies everything. The classification comes down from the president of the United States.
People get their security clearance revoked for a lot less than what we're reading here. I mean, not just intentional, but just negligence alone.
Yeah, or just time.
And then there's many people who you would think would have no problem who get rejected. They go up the chain, and they cannot get through the security clearance process. There's also, as you said, there's one person who can strip these away immediately. There's one person who can declassify anything. There's also one person who can give a top security clearance to anyone they want to, and that's the President of the United States. President Trump, I think, has done that temporarily a couple of times when these business guys have joined the administration, and their application for this could be 2,000 pages long. So again, a lot of this goes back to the presidential power being utilized to get this bureaucracy under control. And you've all wondered, where's the action? Where do people finally get in trouble? When do they lose their jobs? Let me tell you something. When you lose this security clearance, you're not working intelligence anymore, and you're not nearly as valuable to defense contractors, that military-industrial complex. They don't want to hire a bunch of former bureaucrats who have lost the access into that top secret world.
Now, they may still keep their job on MS Now, formerly MSNBC, because they can wear that as a badge of honor. Look, Tulsi Gabbard took away my security clearance because, I manipulated intelligence, I lied to the American people, et cetera, et cetera.
They definitely treat her like a boogeyman kind of situation every time she pops up. And again, doing something that's not that uncommon. Yes, it's uncommon maybe in these big sweeping digital moments. Like I said, it's more uncommon that we have her out there on the news and that we have her putting up a YouTube video talking about it. And it's more, but that has been the transparency of not just this administration, but of Tulsi since the beginning, which is I'm going to tell you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Tulsi is great for this position. And in the intel world is we know how much she loves our country. She served until it remains that service as long as possible. Has done that throughout her career, didn't retire from reserves while she was a member of Congress or running for president. And in the current position, I'm not sure how that works when you're a cabinet secretary, but I know she still does a lot with the troops she's linked to. The bottom line is her demeanor is the right person that balances with Trump, with President Trump. So President Trump, we're getting rid of these 37 people. Whereas Tulsi Gabbard can thoughtfully walk through why these 37 people should not have this access and the reasons why they take these steps. And she does it in a way that I think is very serious about someone who cares little about partisan politics and much more about the United States of America.
Her calmness in the face of all the vitriol that they will spew at her, I think is what makes her more scary to them, is knowing that she wants to get the job done and she's going to do it with precision. And I feel like they feel like they can go after Trump maybe a little bit more because he is bombastic. He loves the rhetorical joust. But with Tulsi Gabbard, she's very clear, she remains calm, and she is decisive in her actions. And I think that probably scares them more to some degree because now she's going after people that fed the American people this lie. They weaponized our intelligence apparatus against the American people. That we can't lose sight of that. These people work for us. These are members of the government. The bureaucracy somehow thinks that they're above the American people and that they are above the president even. They're not. They work for us, and there have to be consequences, and now they're doing it, and this is a great day for the United States.